Hi, it's Darren again, and thanks for clicking through to have a look at the case study on how I helped Nicole. I was able to very quickly relieve Nicole from years of extreme mortgage stress and to help her walk away with more than $44,000. She was able to immediately move on with her new life while I renovated her house and sold it for a very good price. And she didn't have to do anything. I did all of the work and provided all of the funding. The value of her house before the renovation was estimated by a local real estate agent to be $320,000, and she had total debts at the time of roughly $303,000, which means after repossession costs, legal fees, holding costs and selling costs, Nicole would have most likely been declared bankrupt. You can see by the photos that the house was very run down and in a cosmetically tired condition. And this is very normal when you're suffering mortgage stress because you just don't have the money or the energy left to maintain your home. Within just a few weeks, I had completely renovated Nicole's home, increasing the value from $320,000 to a final sale price of $475,000. Rather than being repossessed and going bankrupt, Nicole received a total of $44,061 from the sale of her home. Here's what Nicole said. Darren helped me through the toughest period of my life. After so many years of stress and arrears with the bank, who were being horrible to me, he took over everything and saved me from being repossessed. He paid for my bond and rent to move out and get started in my new life, and renovated my old home to an incredible condition. I literally cried when I saw how beautiful it was when we sold it. The end result is I got more money than I ever possibly could have myself, and I didn't have to do anything. I was so relieved to sell my home with his help and to move on with my life. Darren took care of all the stress. The reality is that this is just one example of so many more clients that I've helped in the same way, and you can read many of their stories on my website. In this case study, I'll show you the full details step by step of exactly how I helped Nicole. The process I use to help all of my clients is a simple and clear 5-step process. It starts with a free, no obligation consultation where you can talk to me privately and specifically about your unique circumstances, and we can discuss what options you have. In step 2, I contact the bank on your behalf and have an initial discussion with them on what options they will or will not agree to, with the aim of ensuring that you can get the most money you can from your situation. Steps 1 and 2 are completely free and with no obligation for you to proceed any further. So if you want to take that information that I've uncovered for you and do something with it by yourself, then you're free to do so. But if you do decide that you want my help, we then move on to steps 3, 4 and 5, where we formally stop the bank repossession, renovate your house to its best condition, and sell it for the highest possible price. So here's how those steps worked for Nicole. During step 1, I had 3 comprehensive meetings with Nicole because she was feeling very emotional and distressed, and she was very anxious about who she could and couldn't trust. We discussed in detail what options she had and what it would look and feel like if we went ahead with steps 3, 4 and 5, or whether she felt it was better for her to quickly sell her house herself in its current condition. Eventually, Nicole decided it was a viable option to explore getting my help, so she agreed for me to call her bank and discuss what options she had. So in step number 2, I contacted Nicole's bank, who are a notoriously difficult bank to deal with, and they made it very clear to me that after many months of arrears, that they were not in a position to give her any more time, and they were 100% committed to proceeding with the repossession. Although it was one of the most difficult negotiations I've had with any bank, I was able to get them to agree to give Nicole, with my help, the opportunity to quickly renovate and sell her own home rather than them repossess it from her. So we agreed a financial arrangement in regards to Nicole's arrears and also the ongoing loan payments on her house, which meant we were now back in control to renovate and sell the home. So having completed my discussions with the bank, I then had another meeting with Nicole where we went through her options in detail. And just like anyone else who's facing an imminent repossession, she still had 3 options left. Firstly, to let the bank take her home. Secondly, to sell the home quickly herself. Or thirdly, to get my or somebody else's help to renovate and sell it for a higher price. At fast house sales, I guarantee that by choosing number 3, that you'll walk away with more money than choosing either option 1 or 2. And in Nicole's situation, option 2 of trying to sell it quickly herself was not even possible because the bank was so close to repossessing it. So Nicole and I went through the financial estimates of what would be likely to happen if she chose number 1, to let the bank take her house. And very quickly she was able to see how much better off she'd be by getting my help. And I was very excited when she decided to proceed because I knew how much potential her home had to be renovated and sold for a much higher price. So once Nicole and I decided to work together on her home, step number 3 was to actually stop the bank. So I immediately made the payments to the bank to formalise and stop the repossession of Nicole's home. This is an absolutely critical and major step to making sure that she was able to get the highest possible price. Because when the bank's threatening to repossess your home, it's very easy to get a lot less money than you actually deserve, because you're under pressure to sell quickly. So it's absolutely critical to take control back from the banks and make sure that you're in charge of the sale of your own home. Once we were in charge of the situation again, in step 4, I planned and managed a full renovation of Nicole's home. And within 5 weeks, we were able to increase the value from an initial estimate of $320,000 to the final sale price of $475,000. Nicole's home was very cosmetically run down and tired, because she obviously had no spare money or energy left to maintain things around her home. When you're preparing a home for sale, the most important thing to focus on is to keep the cost of the work as low as possible whilst trying to maximise the increase in the final sale price. And having completed more than 85 property renovations, I know exactly what areas of the home to focus on. Those top 5 things are, number 1 is first impressions, which is street appeal and gardens, so that when people first see your home, they fall in love with it. Number 2 is to ensure the property is immaculately clean, both inside and outside. Number 3 is to do fresh paint throughout the home. Number 4 is to renew or replace the carpets and the flooring. And number 5 is to focus on the wet areas, i.e. the kitchen and the bathrooms, as these are critical to achieving a great sale price. And as you can see from these before and after pictures, the transformation of Nicole's home by focusing on these 5 key areas is remarkable. The last step, once Nicole's home was renovated and ready for sale, was to ensure that it sold for the highest possible price. Having 27 years of experience in selling properties, I know what it takes to find the best local real estate agents with the most experience and the most integrity to ensure that your house can be sold as high as possible. I researched and interviewed the top 4 real estate firms in Nicole's area before selecting the most qualified agent to sell her home. Within 3 weeks of listing the home, they had 4 people interested and negotiated an outstanding sale price well above expectations of the $475,000. Nicole had been suffering from debilitating mortgage stress for a number of years and was resigned to the fact that she was about to lose everything. She had nowhere left to turn and no one that she could rely on to help her. What Nicole got instead was immediate relief from her stress, and she was able to move out and restart her life straight away, while I renovated and sold her home for her, without her having to do any of the work, and rather than going bankrupt, she received a total of $44,061. The most important thing to understand through watching this case study is that you need to be in charge of the sale of your own home and to take control back from the bank. As I explained earlier in the case study, steps number 1 and 2 in the process, where you get to discuss your options with me, are completely free and with no obligation. So if you feel like there's any chance that you can benefit from discussing your options with me, just click on the link below this video and you can book in a time that suits you. And I'll call you to discuss your unique situation and to see how I can help you.